The video documentaries are made for educational content. These are serious crimes. Viewer discretion is advised. Death for all living things is inevitable. Luckily, however, most people aren't told how or when their curtains will roll. They therefore live contently in blissful ignorance. But what about those given the death penalty for their crimes? I'm your host Wyatt, and today's video is most disturbing last words of death row inmates.
Could you wipe my mouth, please, ma'am?
Ted Bundy. Perhaps one of the, if not the, most notorious and feared criminals. Ted's twisted reign of terror cost the lives of countless young women. After finally being captured, he eventually confessed to the crimes he committed between 1974 and 1978. Unsurprising to anyone, even Ted himself was given the death penalty. What's arguably more shocking than Ted's crimes, however, was his indifference to his crimes or the amount of suffering he caused. In a shocking final word statement, he simply remarked, "I'd like you to give my love to my family and friends."
Theodore Robert Bundy, you are charged, indictment, 2 counts burglary, 2 counts murder in the first degree, 3 counts attempted murder in the first degree. Design or intent to effect the death of said Lisa Levy.
My chance to talk to the press.
Contrary to section 78204 Florida statute.
I'll plead not guilty right now.
And your grand jury...
Carl Panzram. Panzram really was an example of a man with no shred or decency or any trace of a human soul. He committed numerous acts of theft and burglary, as well as claimed countless humans' lives. The final straw would be at Leavenworth Federal Prison, where he would go on to assault a prison employee, resulting in his death, which apparently was the final nail in the coffin for him, as he quickly was sentenced to death by hanging. In his confession, he explicitly stated that he felt no remorse for any of his crimes. Panzram was hanged on September 5th, 1930. It was reported that he spat on the executioner's face before uttering his final words. "Yes, hurry it up, you Hoosier bastard. I could kill a dozen men while you're screwing around."
And they come out angrier, nastier, a la Carl Panzram.
What do you want to know for?
Tom Blackjack Ketchum. Tom was a part of a gang in the Wild West who's tried to rob a train. Unfortunately for him, however, the heist would turn out to be a colossal failure and led to his capture after sustaining life-threatening wounds. At the time, unluckily for him, train robbery was a crime punishable by death, and he would be tied and quickly sentenced to death by hanging. On April 26, 1901, moments before his execution, however, he would display unwavering courage in the face of the death by uttering his final words. "Goodbye. Please dig my grave very deep. All right, hurry up."
On April the 26th, 1901, in Clayton, Blackjack Ketchum, Will Culver, and the rest of the gang were sentenced to hang for the crime of attacking a railroad, a death penalty in New Mexico.
Look, the kid had nothing to do with it. You remember that, won't you?
Ketchum, faced with the gallows, had a last-minute change of heart and cleared it.
Richard Ramirez. Nicknamed the Night Stalker, Ramirez was a true example of a lost cause. Ramirez was a religious fanatic and devout Satan worshiper, as irredeemable as he was vicious. He would go on to terrorize the state of California between 1984 and 1985 by breaking into homes and using a variety of weapons to commit barbaric acts of cruelty and savagery to unsuspecting residents, before then stealing whatever valuables they may have possessed. Ramirez displayed a clear lack of emotion, as he displayed no remorse for his crimes. He would later be sentenced to death, and his chilling reported final words would simply be, "Hail Satan."
As far as Satan is concerned, I believe in a malevolent being. His description eludes me, but I have felt powers that are evil.
After an 8-month trial, Ramirez was convicted of all 13 murders and given multiple death sentences.
Peter Curtin. Born on the 26th of May, 1883, Curtin was a merciless psychopath known as the Vampire of Dusseldorf. Curtin was a vile human being who likely caused the deaths of numerous innocent lives. It was reported he sometimes even drank some of his victims' blood, thus earning his bloody awful nickname, pun not intended. Curtin was tried and found guilty of several counts of murder, and he was sentenced to death by beheading in April 1931. Before his execution took place, he presented his executioner with a rather disturbing question. Tell me, after my head has been chopped off, will I still be able to hear, at least for a moment, the sound of my own blood gushing from the stump of my neck? That will be pleasure to end all pleasures. John Wayne Gacy. The infamous killer clown. To say Gacy was a vile sociopath would be the understatement of the year. Gacy was responsible for the deaths of countless young men and women. Gacy would sometimes posing as his clown persona, Pogo the Clown, lure his victims into a ranch near Norwich, where he would trick them into putting on handcuffs before assaulting his now helpless victims and taking their lives. He was given the death penalty by lethal injection on May 10, 1994. Moments before his executioner showed a clear lack of human empathy or regret on his final part. His last words were simply, "Kiss my..."
Murder spree was first discovered on a cold December day. The first of his victims were found in the crawl space beneath his home. They were taken out one by one as the world watched. For 13 years, Gacy refused to talk. But tonight, he's breaking that silence, walking out from death row in Menard State Prison to speak one-on-one with Channel 2's Walter Jacobson.
October 9th, 2002, Warnos' death sentence was carried out.
Aileen Carol Warnos. Aileen was unstable to say the least. Between 1989 and 1990, she would lure unexpected men seeking pleasure in the street before shooting, robbing, and stealing their cars. Aileen would go on to cause the death of 7 men before finally being apprehended to face justice. She never displayed any guilt for her actions, even stating she would do it again if she was set free. She was sentenced to death by lethal injection, which carried out on October 9th, 2002. Her final words were incomprehensible, as they were bone-chilling, revealing just how deranged Aileen really was mentally. Yes, I would like to say I'm sailing with the Rock, and I'll be back, like Independence Day, with Jesus, June 6th, like the movie, big mothership and all. I'll be back, I'll be back.
He said, doesn't that look like a computer? The back of it, and they stuck it to the wall.
And do you think, what, did that affect your mind, do you think?
Huh?
Did that affect your mind in some way, the sonic?
It was crushing my head, and they were using sonic pressure continually.
Mary Blandy. Born in 1720, Mary was a young English lady who poisoned her own father, Francis Blandy. In her defense, Mary claimed she thought that she would give her father was a potion that would change his mind regarding her relationship with her lover, William Henry Cranston. This didn't convince the court, however, as she was later sentenced to death by hanging. In her final moments, Mary exhibited concern not for her life, but for her dignity as a lady. People attending her hanging were astonished to listen to her final words. "Gentlemen, don't hang me high for the sake of decency." Clearly more worried about ill-mannered weirdos looking up her skirt as she hung than the act of hanging herself.
Never confessed but was sentenced to die.
Jeffrey Matthews. Matthews was convicted for the first-degree murder of his great-uncle, Otis Earl Short, who was shot during an attempted robbery at his home in 1994. Matthews was given the death penalty by lethal injection, but his death wouldn't be carried out until January 2011, on the day of his execution. Matthews addressed his loving family members who were there for him in his final hours. Moments before the drug administration and with the needles in his arm, he stated, "I think that the governor's phone is broke. He hadn't called yet." Likely holding on to the hope the governor will call any second to halt the execution. Well, there you have it, you guys. If you enjoy crime, prison, or any videos relating jail, then drop a like and subscribe. Press on another video you see on the screen right now to watch another video just like this one. And I'll see you over in that video.